What's up guys and welcome to Wall Street Millennial. On this channel, we cover everything related to stocks and investing. In this video, we're going to go over some of the greatest gains and losses on the WSB forum so we can learn from other traders' experiences. Before we get into the video, make sure you smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. First off, we have user Peleg1215, who tried to get in on the Rocket Company's short squeeze, but it didn't go exactly as planned. He wanted to put $500 into Rocket Company's ticker symbol RKT because he thought it would be a good trade and this was money he was willing to lose. Unfortunately, when he went to buy the stock, instead of typing in RKT, he accidentally typed in RKTE, which is Reflectco Inc., a near-worthless penny stock trade on the OTC markets. Reflectco is a reflective coating company and is a true penny stock, and when he tried buying it, the share price showed up as 0.06 cents per share. The company has about 50 million shares, so that put its market cap at roughly $30,000, or roughly the price of a new Toyota Prius. At the price of 0.06 cents, a $500 investment equaled about 833,000 shares, so he put in a market order for that amount. Unfortunately, the price quote that his trading app gave him was delayed, and RKTE stock had actually pumped significantly higher by that time, as there were other traders who likely made the same mistake thinking it was Rocket Companies. In fact, the market cap of RKTE was so low that his own buying of 833,000 shares likely contributed significantly to the share price going up. By the time his market order was fully executed, his average buying price was 1.3 cents per share, more than 20 times greater than the 0.06 cents he thought he was buying at. At this elevated share price, his total cost basis was $11,000. At the height of the Rocket Company's short squeeze on March 2nd, RKTE reached a high of 2 cents per share and still trades at 1 cent at the time of recording this video. If he were able to sell out of his position at the current price, he would be able to recoup a good portion of his initial investment. Unfortunately, he lives in Canada and trades in a TFSA account, a retirement account which is basically the Canadian equivalent of an IRA. Somehow, a TFSA allows you to buy OTC stocks, but inexplicably doesn't allow you to sell them. So his only option is to transfer the shares to a different broker that will allow him to sell. The process of transferring those shares will take a couple of days at least, and by that time, RKTE will likely have fallen back down to less than a tenth of a cent as the people who bought the stock realize that they made the mistake and try to unwind their positions. Even if the stock price stays at 1 cent, when he is finally able to sell, his offloading of 833,000 shares in and of itself will likely cause the price to tank, which will push down his average selling price. Of the $11,000 he put in, he would be lucky to even get $1,000 back when he sells. Penny stocks have extremely low market caps and volume, so if just a few traders accidentally buy them, it can have a massive impact on the price. In fact, this happens more often than you might expect. During the beginning of the pandemic in March, Zoom Communications stock understandably went up as their business was a massive beneficiary of the work-from-home environment. But Zoom Communications was not the only stock that benefited. The penny stock Zoom Technologies also spiked as people bought it erroneously, thinking it was Zoom Communications, and the stock skyrocketed 1,800% from January to March before quickly falling back down. During that same time period, Zoom Communications only went up 100%. This just goes to show how important it is to double-check you know exactly what you are buying when you make a trade. It also goes to show that if you buy any penny stock, it's vital to use a limit order to make sure you don't push the stock price up while you are buying it. Next we have user Easily Wrecked, who posted this screenshot of some awesome gains on calls on Rocket Companies. He held 14 total contracts on Rocket Companies, including a 30-strike call expiring this Friday, 8 30-strike calls expiring in 2 weeks, 4 50-strike calls expiring on March 19th, and 1 45.5-strike call expiring on March 19th. Rocket Companies was the target of a short squeeze yesterday, and saw its price increase from $24 a share to $42 a share in one trading session. Rocket Companies owns and operates Rocket Mortgage, which is the largest mortgage provider in the US, even bigger than the megabanks like Chase Bank and Wells Fargo. They have been doing extremely well during the pandemic as a result of increased mortgage demand from the record low mortgage interest rates of the past year. However, to the OP, the only thing that matters is the name of the company. And it seems to have worked out well for him. He made $16,463 on his calls at the time of this screenshot, off a base of about only $700. That translates to a 2,400% return, presumably in just one day. The OP knows that he gets easily wrecked, so he knew to take some profits at the end of the day. And that's a good thing he did so, because Rocket Companies has given back some of its gains today, down 30%. In fact, user Substantial Ad 9843 thinks the whole short squeeze was a pump and dump scheme orchestrated by Citadel. This is a sentiment seemingly shared by many on Wallstreetbets, and some people think that Rocket Company's short squeeze is a way for Citadel to distract people from GameStop. Next up we have user Fap for God's Eyes, who actually has been featured on this channel before. He posted about some magnificent gains on calls on Ford. Ford stock has done extremely well since the pandemic lows last April, and has since rallied more than 200%. This Wallstreetbets user was heavily leveraged into Ford, with calls expiring on March 5th. He has some at $12, $12.50, and $13 strikes. Most recently, Ford has just crossed into the range of these strike prices, which allowed the OP to make $55,400 of gains in one day. That's off a base of only about $30,000, meaning that's close to a 170% gain in one day. Not bad at all. One day before he posted these gains, the OP posted this DD on Ford. In it, he says that some catalysts for the company are the fact that a recent conflict between some of its suppliers for electric batteries looks like it might end soon, as well as the success of the electric F-150 truck. Also, he says they recently partnered with Google to make an autonomous car, and at the same time, options on Ford seem relatively cheap. He then put his money where his mouth was and invested nearly $30,000 into Ford calls. The next day, that turned into $80,000. This just goes to show that when you do your research and really know the companies and industries of the stocks you invest in, you have a real chance of making good money on your trades. Congratulations. Next up, we have another gain on rocket companies. User ChanceAd3843, who hails from Singapore, posted this screenshot of an unknown brokerage that showed their net asset value broken down by instrument type. It shows that between March 1st and March 2nd, the value of their options increased dramatically, generating a 595% return. One commenter asks if the OP plans on holding or just flipping the options for a gain. The OP responds by saying that he still has some 50 strike calls expiring in a couple weeks, but he has already taken profits to the tune of the original investment amount. User RyanZ19 says to not be greedy and secure those profits to be used towards other plays, to which East Hornet 6583 says that he thinks Rocket's CEO is going to keep squeezing the stock. On March 9th, Rocket stock will pay a special dividend of $1.11, which the short sellers will have to pay the people they borrowed the stock from. East Hornet seems to think that this will squeeze the shorts even further. Next off, we have user Nekriel, whose portfolio went on a wild ride over the past few months. He yielded his entire portfolio into GameStop calls, which yielded him a 663%, or almost $20,000 profit at the height of the short squeeze on January 27th. Unfortunately, he did not take profits and he lost the gains just as fast as he made them. This created some high-quality loss porn, with the spike in his chart resembling the peak of a dying narwhal surfacing for the final breath of air. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. If you like this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you have any recent gains or losses, let us know about them in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check us out on TikTok and Instagram, as well as our second channel, WSM Research. On that channel, we post regular updates on high-growth tech stocks such as Palantir and Alibaba. On that channel, we also posted a video about the potential for a rocket company's short squeeze one day before the actual short squeeze occurred. We never try to call the timing of the market, but instead try to provide the most up-to-date and relevant information on the stocks that seem most interesting to us. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.